I can't do this. The pain, the guilt, the hurt could be heard by all. Day 12 of Lindsay Clancy's trial wrapped up on Wednesday. It's a great day for a great day. My name is Sydney Rushing. I'm a criminal defense attorney in the state of Michigan. Now let's talk about it. Witness number 63, Daniel Lawler, was called to the stand. He's with the Massachusetts State Police. He's now a sergeant, but at the time he was a detective. He responded to South Shore and collected Lindsay's wedding ring and her band and her clothing. The jury was shown these clothing items. He was a part of a search that happened on January 25th at the home, and he was tasked with documenting the evidence collected at the scene. They discussed the bottles that were found in the kitchen and how he inventoried them. The jury got to see those bottles. He searched the master bedroom and located a baby monitor and a Google Nest camera. He then reported to the hospital and sat outside Lindsay's room as her law enforcement babysitter for all intents and purposes. He remained outside the room when Lindsay had a psychiatric visit. Now, on cross-examination, he said that the stains on Lindsay's clothing was blood. He doesn't remember seeing shoes at the hospital. And then when asked about the drawer in the kitchen that was full of meds, he said he hadn't seen it. 2 laptops were seized from the basement, and Lindsay's phone and another phone were seized from the master bedroom. He doesn't recall if either of the phones had blood on them. He agreed that while Lindsay was in the hospital, no one could get access to her. Reddington had to get a court order, and even her parents couldn't go in and see her. Then Reddington started asking him questions about Dr. Paul Cecil, who came to see Lindsay while he was standing outside her room. And he started asking him about this whole thing where the doctor told Lindsay to tell Patrick that she was hearing voices. There was a big objection from the prosecution, and then they went to sidebar. Now, what the judge did is he excused the jury so he could hear the testimony that this officer is going to be questioned on before making the determination whether he's going to allow it in or not. During that in-camera hearing, he agreed that he was collaborating with prosecutors about theories, and one of the theories was that Patrick Clancy had indicated to investigators that Lindsay had called him from the hospital and that they had discussed the theory that the doctor let Lindsay use his phone and that the doctor told Lindsay to say that she was hearing voices. He confirmed he didn't know anything about whether there was any evidence to suggest that even being possible. And then the judge brought the jury back in, and they got to hear that too. He said that Dr. Paul Cecil visited Lindsay Clancy, and he did not hear the convos inside. He later learned that Cecil let Lindsay use his phone to call Patrick. He was asked if Trooper McKelligan talked with him about the theory of Cecil telling her to tell her husband that she was hearing voices. He confirmed that and said it was based on speculation, not evidence. And while we're on the roll of speculation, y'all be careful what y'all consuming out here because it's a lot of misinformation and not evidence and bad things. But I digress. On redirect, he said that he discusses cases with other investigators and they talk about their theories and, their strategies and all of that, and that sometimes they can change over time. He confirmed he didn't hear anything in that room that day when Dr. Cecil was in there. And that makes you wonder, right? Because if he didn't hear anything, where did they ever get this theory that the doctor told Lindsay to tell Patrick that she was hearing voices? Like, where would that even come from in the realm unless they were already saying like she's gonna make this up or make it into mental health even though she had documentation. And anyways, that's neither here nor there right now. Witness number 64, Letitia Dukes, was called to the stand. She's a mental health clinician at South Shore. She treated Lindsay in late of 2022. She said a typical patient visit would last between 30 to 60 minutes. She discussed Section 12 involuntary hospitalization process and how that works. She reviewed Lindsay's mental health history after she was referred to her for postpartum anxiety and depression. On December 2nd, when she met with her, Lindsay reported as feeling numb and having, low mood or depressed, but that she didn't appear that way, describing that there was no sadness or tears and that she held eye contact. She was worried about Callan and having an addiction to Ativan. She had thoughts of no longer wanting to live, but no plan to take herself out, and due to the no plan, she didn't seek a higher level of care. On December 5th, Lindsay met virtually with her and explained she had a rough weekend and had intrusive thoughts and that she called the self-help hotline, but they didn't do anything because she didn't have a plan. She said that Lindsay had no signs of mania, psychosis, delusion, paranoia, or bad ideation thoughts at the time. On December 12th, she met with Lindsay virtually and they discussed the prior recommendation of the partial hospitalization treatment, and Lindsay planned to go on December 20th. On December 19th, that was her last visit with Lindsay, where Lindsay reported improved sleep but low mood and numbness. She said that day she seemed to be more engaged. She could laugh, enjoy spending time with family, and things like that. And then on December 27th, she spoke to Patrick Clancy with Lindsay's consent. Patrick was concerned with Lindsay's meds, and then she told him to reach out to her provider. She said that Lindsay never exhibited mania, delusions, paranoia, or psychosis, and did not appear to not provide accurate information about her condition. And then on cross-examination, she confirmed that she met with Lindsay 4 times in December. On December 2nd, Lindsay told her that she was prescribed Ativan by Tufts and was worried about addiction. They went through the meds she was prescribed up until then, and since starting them, she said she had felt like she was going to you unalive, and she didn't care about it. She said that Lindsay reported feeling constantly worried about something bad happening to the kids, and in particularly to Callan. When asked about Lindsay calling the self-help line and them denying her care because she didn't have a plan, Dukes agreed, like, yeah, that's what happened. She doesn't know why Lindsay wasn't admitted to the treatment program on December 20th. And when Reddington told her it was their opinion that she was suffering from over-medication, she said that she was unaware of that and was even surprised by it. She agreed that Lindsay's symptoms were symptoms of postpartum depression. Dukes agreed that postpartum psychosis occurs in every 2 out of 1,000 women. Dukes also agreed that when it hits you, it just hits you. Like, boom, it's there. Like, there is no, like, lead up to it. It's like, it just happens. She said that she doesn't know if women with postpartum psychosis present with bipolar disorder. On redirect, she said that she was unable to review Lindsay's records from the hospital treatment visit. And she said again that on December 19th, she could smile and laugh. And then on cross, Reddington pressed her on the laugh issue and said Lindsay had told her that she was numb and depressed. And she said that Lindsay had laughed in response to something funny that she had said. She also confirmed that she advised Lindsay to exercise to help with the symptoms. And then we had witness number 65, Cameron Daly. This was a very short witness. He's a police officer with Duxbury Police Department, and he was one of the officer babysitters that kept watch over Lindsay on January 25th. Then there was a lunch break. And then witness number 66, Nicole Bradley, was called to the stand. She's with the Plymouth County Sheriff's Department, and she basically confirmed and verified the documents. Witness number 67, Dr. Renee Stonebridge, was called to the stand. She's with the Massachusetts Office of the Chief Medical Examiner, and you've heard from her before if you watched the Karen Reed trial because she testified in that trial. She started off with her education and her experience and her qualifications, and she discussed the autopsy reports of the kids that she had reviewed. Cora had signs of strangulation, and Dawson had similar indicators, and with Callan, she noted brain swelling that can be caused by lack of blood and oxygen flow. She explained that the brain will start to die after approximately 6 to 8 minutes without oxygen. There was no questions by the defense. And during this time, Lindsay could be audibly heard crying, and you could see her crying. And Reddington had his arm around her and was trying to console her. There was a brief break. And then witness number 67, Dr. Barbara Olson, was called to the stand. She performed the autopsy on Cora. And it was rough to listen to this testimony because Lindsay, again, could be heard audibly crying. She described the neck and head injuries that Cora had, and then you can hear Lindsay just saying, I can't do this, through her sobs, and another break was called. Then the jury came back, and Dr. Olson's testimony continued, and Lindsay crying continued, but they continued on. She said she observed pinpoint hemorrhages around Cora's eyes and the inside of her eyelids and inside her lips. Photos of this were shown to the jury, as well as injuries of her neck. Cora also had injuries on her right arm and legs, which were described as small scattered bruises. She noted 3 small bruises on Cora's right arm, saying they were more recent in time, but she couldn't exactly say when they happened. She said all the injuries showed lacks of oxygen to the brain and regulation. She was asked about the pain that Cora felt, and she says you can feel pain up to the point of passing out or losing consciousness, and that can happen as early as 10 to 30 seconds. She was asked if someone was resisting, would they lose consciousness slower? And she said, no, actually the opposite, it'd be faster because your resisting would cause for more blood flow to the brain and it would be faster. And I think since the prosecutor didn't get the answer that she was expecting that time, she hit her with the, so you're telling me that you could, be squeezing someone's neck for 30 seconds and, this and that. She was not happy. Photos were shown of Dawson's neck and inner lip. Dawson's face also had darker and more expansive hemorrhaging, and she said that could be indicative of Dawson struggling or the pressure being applied was different. Photos of Cora and Dawson were admitted into evidence over the objection of the defense. And then there was no questions by the defense on cross-examination. And after that long, tough, and emotional day, the jury got to go home. Thank you for being here. Thank you for following along. And here's the question of the day. How do you think the prosecutor's doing so far? Because I don't think she's doing that great, but let me know in the comments.